Starting today, I'm living with my mom and dad. Get out, you freeloading housewife.
After 5 years of marriage, my husband abruptly declared it over. Not only did he insult me, but he also tried to sell our precious home without my consent. I couldn't possibly forgive him. As I watched his back, I made up my mind. I will definitely get my revenge. My name is Sherry. I'm 36 years old. I married Ken 5 years ago. In the beginning, he asked me to be a stay-at-home wife. So, I quit my job when we got married. A few years ago, my parents passed away. And now, we live in the house I inherited from them. When my parents died in an accident, he was always there to encourage me.
Sherry, please, don't cry anymore. It's going to be okay.
But my mom and dad suddenly...
I know, honey. But if you keep crying, your parents in heaven will be worried too.
But...
It's all right. I'll always be by your side.
Thanks to his kindness, I've managed to recover and face my parents' death. I was so grateful to be married to him. But then, an event that threatened our peaceful marriage life suddenly happened. One day, while I was out shopping for dinner, I saw my husband, who was supposed to be at work in the city. He was too far to call out to, but I was sure it was him by his clothes. He entered a real estate office with a big smile and came out looking very pleased. He had left for work as usual this morning. So, why was he here? There was no talk of moving, and he had no reason to be at a real estate office. I was so curious about his behavior that I decided to go into the real estate office after he left. I explained to the agent that I was his wife and asked what business he had there. The response was unbelievable.
Oh, the man from earlier. He said he wanted to sell his family home.
His family home?
Yes, he said he inherited a big house from his parents and wanted to know how much it would sell for and to start the selling process.
I was speechless at this unexpected turn of events. Oh, wait a minute. That house isn't my husband's. It's mine, inherited from my parents.
Really? But your husband said you had agreed.
What? This is the first I've heard of it. I have the deed, and there's no way he could sell it without my consent.
Oh, but your husband definitely said he wanted to sell the family home.
What does this mean? He was trying to sell the house I inherited from my parents without my knowledge, pretending it was his. I can't believe it. Normally, selling a house requires the deed, registration documents, and a seal certificate. I have all of those, so there's no way he could sell it on his own. What on earth is he thinking? I found out his intentions that night. Ken, there's something I need to ask you. Before I could confront him, he started.
I'm fed up with you. You're in the way. Get out.
Huh? He interrupted me and blurted that out first. His parents were behind him, glaring at me. What are you talking about? What do you mean, get out?
Exactly what I said. I don't have a shred of love for you. You're worthless as a woman because you can't even have a child.
Are you serious?
Stop being annoying. Just leave already. I'm going to sell this house and buy a condo with the money.
Huh? A condo? I was confused. And then Ken's mother, Lori, spoke up. You know, a high-rise condo near the station. My son's going to buy it.
What are you talking about, Lori?
Don't call me by my first name so casually. Once you divorce my son, you're just a stranger. It's your fault for not getting pregnant, Sherry.
How could you say that?
I'm surprised my son put up with you for 5 years. Such a failure of a wife.
Ken's father nodded in agreement. I couldn't believe it. Were these people sane? This was the house I inherited. Did they not understand that? I struggled to contain my rising anger and said to my husband, "Stop it. There are things you can and can't joke about." Then he burst out laughing and sneered. A joke? This is no joke. I don't love you one bit anymore. I'm going to live with my mom and dad. I've already found your replacement. Get out, you freeloading housewife. What do you mean, my replacement? And this house is mine to begin with. Shut up, freeloader. We're getting a divorce. What? Just pack your stuff and leave before I get back. If you're still here when I return, you'll regret it. He and his parents left, snickering. I stared after them, dumbfounded. The sound of the front door closing snapped me out of it. What? Live with his mom and dad? What does he think this house is? They're all so presumptuous. I'll never forgive this. They'll regret mocking me like this. And that's how I decided to get my revenge on my husband. A few days later, my unsuspecting husband returned with his parents and a young woman struggling to open the front door. Huh? Why? Why won't it open? He repeatedly tried to insert the key into the doorknob. I unlocked the door from the inside and appeared before them. Then he gaped at me, pointing. Hey, why are you still here? That's my line. Why shouldn't I be in my own house? I told you to leave. You're just in the way, you freeloader. Oh, yes. You did say that. But if you dislike me so much, shouldn't you be the one to leave? This isn't your house after all. What did you say? He strode up to me aggressively and grabbed me by the collar. Enough already. Who do you think has been supporting you all this time? Actually, who are you again? Huh? Don't get cocky. You're just a wife. Wife? Oh, I'm single though. How strange. Single? Yes. I didn't just change the locks after he left. I had already changed my last name. I revealed the truth to my bewildered ex-husband. After you left with your parents that day, I filed for divorce at the city hall. Divorce? I didn't hear about this. Did I need to tell you? When you left, you were all like, "We're getting a divorce," and made a big scene. But I never signed any divorce papers. Oh? Don't you remember when you shoved the signed divorce papers at me? Huh? He seemed to have no recollection, but he indeed had handed me signed divorce papers months ago. Back then, we argued
about living with his parents. I had clearly said no to living with them when we got married. I told you, when we got married, I didn't plan on living with them. And you agreed.
I changed my mind. With such a big house, why can't my mom and dad live here too? They want to live here.
That's not your call. Anyway, I have no intention of living with your parents.
Oh yeah? Then we're getting a divorce.
Huh?
Look, I even have the divorce papers signed. My parents told me to divorce a woman who can't respect her in-laws.
What's that supposed to mean? Don't talk about divorce so lightly.
Well, you're right. A housewife like you wouldn't have the guts to divorce, right?
You were the one who asked me to be a housewife when we got married.
Shut up. See, this is what I mean.
After a big fight, he shoved the signed divorce papers at me. I didn't file them at that time, but I kept them as a contingency. He had completely forgotten about the divorce papers until I mentioned them. His parents were also dumbfounded by the fact that the papers had already been filed. Amidst all this, one person was clueless. The young woman my ex-husband brought with his parents. Ken, what's going on? She was probably his mistress. She clung to his sleeve in a flirtatious manner. But in the end, you were going to divorce her, right? It's fine since you can marry me.
Lisa? Well, that's true. If I can marry you, then...
And even if you can't sell this house because of that lady, you have enough money to buy a luxury high-rise condo, right?
Huh?
I've already bragged to my friends that I snagged a rich husband and will live in a luxury condo near the station.
Oh, that's...
My ex-husband, confused, asked her.
Wait a minute. By rich husband, do you mean me?
Who else? You work at the famous S Holdings, right? That's a high income if I ever heard one.
No, but you're a doctor.
She made a dumbfounded face. Doctor? Who?
You work at a hospital, remember?
I do work at a hospital, but just as a receptionist, and it's only part-time.
Part-time?
I'm quitting my job because I'm getting married. I told everyone at work that my husband works at S Holdings, and they were so envious.
What?
I couldn't help but burst into laughter at their conversation. Oh, stop. Don't make me laugh anymore, please. Oh, this is too funny. Lisa, unable to bear my reaction, snapped at me. Sorry. Your conversation is just too funny. Huh? How rude. Speaking out of turn for a divorced woman? But the idea of this man working at S Holdings is ridiculous. Huh? Confused, she muttered. What do you mean? I patiently explained the reality to her. Just so you know, your beloved works at a mere small to medium-sized business that you can find anywhere. How could he afford such a house on a single income? It's impossible. You're joking, right? Were you deceiving me? She glared at him, confronting him. Ken, in turn, retorted.
You were deceiving me too, weren't you? You even sent me photos of you in a lab coat, looking all doctor-like.
That was just cosplay. You said you liked that kind of thing.
What? You've been tricking me. You're terrible.
That's my line. Talking about high salaries, saying I'll buy you a condo and all that nonsense. You're garbage. It seems they both misunderstood each other's professions and intended to mooch off each other. Once they realized the truth, a huge fight broke out. The in-laws were dumbfounded too, having believed their new daughter-in-law was a doctor. Enough! I was a fool to be deceived by a man like you. Goodbye. As Lisa tried to leave, I stopped her. Wait a minute. What now? Take back your man. I don't want him. It's not about that. I've already looked into your case. I'll be seeking alimony from you too. Huh? Why should I pay? Why? It's obvious. You were involved with my ex-husband while we were still married. If you're going to claim that, show me the evidence. Evidence? I have plenty. After Ken left, I checked his computer. I found a folder full of evidence of your affair, including cozy photos of you two. No, wait, really? He went that far? Lucky for me, the idiot kept those memories. Thanks to him, I can properly demand alimony from both of you. No! She turned pale and began to shake, collapsing on the spot. Lori, the mother-in-law, interjected, trying to calm things down. Everyone, let's calm down. Let's go inside the house and talk. Go inside? What are you talking about? We're divorced. You can't just enter the house. Sherry, this is an emergency. I don't care. This is all because of your irresponsible son. Do you want to escalate things further? Well, that's... Anyway, don't come near here again. If you try to enter by force, I'll call the police for trespassing. The mention of police seemed to have an impact. They left without entering the house, looking dejected. Later, I formally demanded alimony for my ex-husband and his mistress. I thought it was over until my ex-husband called.
Sherry, I was wrong. Please, help me.
Help you? What are you talking about now?
I have no money. I need to take out a loan to pay the alimony.
Apparently, he had been splurging on his mistress, believing he could recoup the money from Dr. Lisa. They had a falling out. Now he was broke, struggling to pay alimony, let alone live. But I had no sympathy for him. It's unbelievable I even married that jerk. I told him off. I don't care about your problems. You understand? This is all because you cheated and tried to sell my house.
I know. I'm sorry about that. Now I know. You're the only one for me, Sherry. So please, come back to me.
What? Apologies won't fix this. Do you realize how much you hurt me? I want nothing to do with someone as awful as you. Pay the alimony, even if you have to take a loan, you scum. And never show up before me again. He shrieked over the phone and hung up. Since then, I've had no contact with him. To pay the alimony, he now works multiple jobs, day and night. Even his retired parents had to work to help with his debts. It's nothing but poetic justice. Meanwhile, I did some job hunting and found a job. While my salary isn't especially high and I live a very ordinary life, my days are peaceful and incredibly fulfilling. I've realized I can be perfectly happy on my own. There's nothing to fear anymore. I'm grateful for my peaceful days and look forward to the future.
Whoa, she's incredibly cute. We just heard my best friend had her baby.
So my husband and I headed to the maternity ward. The newborn was so tiny. It really made me appreciate the miracle of life. But inside, I was filled with a mix of emotions. I'm sorry, little one. You are so adorable. But things might get tough soon. Back in my friend's room, my husband couldn't stop smiling and said,
Seriously, wasn't that baby just the cutest?
My friend beamed a thankful smile at his words. Then, he turned to me, still smiling.
Right, Sandra? Babies are just adorable.
Yeah, they are. Especially when they look just like you.
What?
Suddenly, my husband and friend looked stunned. That's when I decided to drop the bombshell. I'm Sandra, 29 years old. I studied economics in college, and now I'm working at my parents' company. We have been running the company since my grandpa's time, and my dad's the current CEO. The plan is for my husband Frank to take over someday. I met Frank about 4 years ago. He was a client of our company, but we rarely crossed paths. Then, through a work project, we clicked. Being the same age, it was easy to talk and share ideas. As a CEO's daughter, people often kept me at arm's length, so his normal treatment of me was a breath of fresh air.
Sandra, for a CEO's daughter, you don't act all high and mighty.
He told me that before we got together. Most would take that as a backhanded compliment, but I was just glad to be seen as an equal, a regular employee. That's a first for me, but thanks.
Thanks? Aren't you supposed to get mad at a comment like that?
I've always wanted to be seen as just another employee, not the CEO's daughter, so...
Well then, I guess I'm doing something right.
Yes, you are. After that, things with him progressed quickly. We naturally started dating, and on our second anniversary, he proposed. I never thought I'd get married so fast. I was surprised, but ecstatic. I immediately told my best friend Lisa. Lisa, this is crazy. What do I do? I just got proposed to. Seriously? That's amazing. I still can't believe it. Am I really good enough? Stop it. He proposed because he loves you. Duh. Lisa and I go way back to middle school. She never treated me differently, even knowing my parents are CEOs. She's always been straightforward with me, not weird or overly friendly because of my family's status. I told her first about dating Frank. We've all hung out a few times since, and she's always liked him. It's great to see your close ones get along. She was genuinely happy about my engagement. It's been 2 years since our wedding. We don't have kids yet, mainly because we are not intimate much. Frank's company seems really busy, and he often works late. My job is more laid back, so I'm usually home by dinner time. After I get back, it was basically my job to prepare dinner. I was making dinner one night when Frank called. He sounded sorry as he said,
Sorry, Sandra. I'll be late again. I don't need dinner tonight.
But I've already started cooking.
I'm really sorry, but you know how it is. I can't leave the office.
Why not just eat when you get home?
No, I will grab something with the team. Gotta treat them as their boss. And I need to work hard now to be ready to take over your dad's company.
I get that, but...
Anyway, that's the deal. Don't wait up for me.
He hung up before I could say anything else. With the dial tone ringing, my frustration mounted. What's with that attitude? He could have told me earlier about dinner. And why did his overtime suddenly spike after we got married? He used to come home early when we were dating and newly married. But this past year, he's been coming home way later, and we hardly see each other on weekdays. I want kids soon, but that's not even a thought for him right now. On weekends, he just sleeps or goes out by himself. We barely have any couple time, and my unhappiness just keeps piling up. Then one day, Lisa reached out, and we planned to catch up. Waiting at our usual cafe, she showed up a little late. Sorry I'm late. Things were chaotic at home. No worries. I've been dying to talk to you. What's up? Something good? The opposite. Frank and I just ain't clicking lately. Really? It's not like you to talk that way about him. I had never badmouthed him before, but now I just can't help but vent about his attitude. It's sad that even meeting up with my best friend is overshadowed by this, so I quickly shifted the focus to her. How have you been? You called me out of the blue, so I thought maybe something was up. Actually, yeah, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. What is it? Don't tell me you got a boyfriend? Well, actually, I'm pregnant. What? My mind was racing. Her news had completely thrown me for a loop. What do you mean? You don't even have a boyfriend, and now you're pregnant? But looking closer, I could see her belly was indeed showing. Seeming to guess my thoughts, she quickly smiled and started explaining. Sorry for the shock. I'm 30 weeks along now. What? You're in your third trimester already? Who's the father? About the father. Well, we're not planning to get married. What do you mean? You know who the father is, right? Yeah, but it's complicated. We're not getting married, but he's agreed to pay child support, so it's okay. If that's what you want. I didn't want to butt in, but raising a child alone, even with child support, isn't easy. If she knows who the father is, and they care for each other, wouldn't it be better to be together? I couldn't help but think that. But she must have thought this through. If she decided to raise a child alone, I would support her. Criticizing her or giving unsolicited advice now would only make her anxious. Confident in my decision, I smiled and took her hand. Lisa, you've made up your mind, right? Yeah. Sorry for worrying you. Don't worry about me. I'm just concerned about you. Let me know if there's anything I can do, okay? Thank you, Sandra. I'm sorry. Stop apologizing, really. Despite her pregnancy, she seems somewhat downcast. I've never been pregnant, but maybe it's not all happiness. As her best friend, I would do anything to support her. That night, I decided to tell my husband about her pregnancy when he got home. He finally came back after 11 p.m., and I immediately brought it up. Hey Frank, Lisa is pregnant.
Really? That's news.
Is that all you have to say? She's pregnant.
Well, congratulations to her. She's going to be a mom.
Thing is, she's decided not to marry the guy. Seems like there is some situation.
I see. Well, people have their reasons. Maybe it's best not to pry too much.
I felt a strange unease. Usually, he would listen attentively when I talked about her. But today was different. Instead of showing interest in such big news, he seemed almost avoidant. They were close, so why was he acting so distant? I thought he'd be more surprised or happy. The next day, he left early, and I had the day off with nothing planned. So I decided to start looking for a baby shower gift for Lisa. Just then, my phone died, so I turned on my husband's laptop he usually uses. Several tabs were open from sleep mode. Without thinking much, I started checking the open tabs. One of them was his email folder. He uses email on his laptop? I thought, scrolling through. Then, a familiar name caught my eye. What? I muttered, seeing Lisa's name in the email folder. With a sinking feeling, I opened the email. The contents made me gasp. There were messages confirming an affair between them. I love you. Can't wait to see you. It was like reading a stranger's words. Probably from around when she realized she was pregnant, about 6 months ago. There were many emails from that time. One line in particular made my eyes widen. I'm pregnant. It's yours. His reply to her was kind. He was happy about the pregnancy, but said he couldn't divorce me, promising to provide financially for the child once he became CEO. He even expressed a desire to continue their relationship. Seeing their exchange, I was filled with rage. I had been deceived by my husband and best friend. My trust in them, built up over years, crumbled in an instant. Unforgivable. How could they have an affair behind my back? How did they think I felt hearing about her pregnancy? I knew she was in a tough situation, but I was genuinely happy for her. Despite wanting children myself and our drifting apart, I was happy for my friend. But I had been betrayed all along. From that day, I decided to gather evidence of their affair. I saved the email exchanges and even hired a detective to investigate my husband. It turned out he visited her apartment almost daily. On weekends, they would go to a mall in the next county to buy baby stuff. Photos from the detective showed them happily choosing baby clothes. Though I was seething with anger, I couldn't stop crying. That should have been me with him. But it's too late for regrets now. I've already decided to get my revenge. After gathering enough evidence, I was ready to confront them. But then, I received a message that Lisa had gone into labor. I decided to wait until after the birth to address the affair. The next day, she messaged me that she had safely delivered. My husband suggested we visit her, so I went with him to the maternity ward, evidence in hand. Confronting them about the affair right after childbirth might seem cruel, but I couldn't back down now. We were led to Lisa's room, and then to the newborn nursery. She pointed out her baby among several others. That's my baby girl. She's a bit on the small side.
Oh, she's really cute. You did great, Lisa.
It was incredibly painful, but once she was born, I forgot all about it. Being a mother is amazing. My heart, however, was filled with loathing. I'm sorry, little one. You are so adorable, but things might get tough soon. Back in Lisa's room, my husband couldn't stop smiling.
Man, that baby really was adorable.
She smiled happily and thanked him. He then turned to me with a smile.
Right, Sandra?
What?
Babies are cute, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Especially when they look just like you. Their expressions froze instantly. He forced a smile at my comment.
Hey, what are you saying? Saying she looks like me sounds weird.
I meant it in that weird way.
What?
I know about you too. That you've been having an affair and that Frank is a baby's father. They were speechless. Lisa turned pale and started trembling. I pulled out the evidence I had collected and laid it before them, draining the color from their faces. Frank, are you going to deny it even after seeing this? Are you going to pretend it didn't happen?
It's not like that. We were together just once.
And what? Even if that's true, the fact remains she got pregnant from that one time, right? I ignored him and turned to Lisa, who quickly started apologizing. I'm sorry, Sandra. I didn't mean for this to happen. I had feelings for Frank, but I never expected to get pregnant. Enough. I don't care how you felt. You had an affair, got pregnant with my husband's child, and had the baby. That's the fact. I'm sorry. Don't bother apologizing. I won't forgive you. But her tears didn't change my mind. They had done something unforgivable. They must face the consequences for what they have done. I firmly told them both. I will be filing for alimony from both of you. Whether you have a child or not doesn't matter. You will pay for what you have done. I will also inform your parents, Frank, and I want a divorce. As for you becoming the next CEO, that's off the table. Handle your affairs however you want from now on. With that, I left the hospital room and went straight to a lawyer to start the alimony and divorce proceedings. The divorce was finalized with Frank's faults recognized. Both Frank and Lisa were ordered to pay a lump sum in alimony. Contrary to my expectations, they didn't marry. Their parents were furious, and Lisa was taken back home. She now works day and night to pay off the debt incurred from the alimony, and her parents are looking after the child. Frank had been neglecting his work at the company. Assuming he soon resigned and became isolated within the company, there is no prospect of promotion for him now, and he's viewed unfavorably by his colleagues. They haven't met since the incident. It's a fitting consequence for their actions. I feel nothing but schadenfreude. As for me, I'm diligently working every day. After the divorce, I became the candidate for the next CEO, striving to meet the expectations around me. I want to repay my parents through my work for all the worry I caused them. Marriage isn't everything. I will find my own way to happiness.